Hey everyone, how's it going? No ranked matches in this video, but I've been getting a lot of comments from those of you who don't really play fighting games that often or aren't too familiar with some of the terms that I've been throwing around in the other Killer Instinct videos, so I thought it would be nice to maybe make a little brief introductory video going through the basic part of Killer Instinct's dojo, which is kind of like the tutorial in-game that covers a lot of stuff that's going to be useful for beginners. You have really super basic stuff like dashing and blocking, and then it gets more into game systems and even advanced stuff like frame traps and wake up options and option selects. So if you don't know much about fighting games or Killer Instinct in general, this is just going to be something to get you up to speed if you're trying to follow my other KI videos. So, Killer Instinct is a 6-button fighter like Street Fighter. You have 3 punches and you have 3 kicks. You have light, mediums, and hards. Each attack with their own specific properties, like different damage ranges, distance that they cover, speed, recovery. Like most 2D fighters, you hold back to block. Blocking while standing will block mid and overhead attacks, including jumping attacks. Blocking while crouching stops you from being hit by attacks that are that hit high or low. You can double tap the stick forward or backwards, or the D-pad, stick or D-pad. You'll do a dash either forwards or backwards, depending on the direction you tap in. KI has invincible backdashes, which means that for the first 7 frames, I think it actually might vary by character, but the first 1 to 7 frames of your backdash, you can't be hit, you can't be hurt. And a quick note about that little bit of terminology about frames. I won't get too much too heavy into frame data in this, but when I say something like the backdash has 7 frames of invincibility, this game runs at 60 frames per second, right? So 7 frames of invincibility means that the backdash is invincible for 7 out of 60 frames, or just over about a sixth of a second. Just slightly over that. We also have throws and back throws in Killer Instinct, just like in most fighters. You perform them by hitting both light punch and light kick together while you're close to an opponent. If you try to throw your opponent at the same time that they go to throw you, you will tech the throw or break out of it, which is important because you cannot block a throw. And KI's dojo actually teaches a really useful concept known as tick throwing. Tick throw is when you force your opponent to block for a second, and then you attempt to throw them as a follow-up. Jabs or light attacks that don't push you very far back, like they don't push you out of range, attacks like that are good for tick throwing for ticking into a throw. So there's kind of this rock, paper, scissors game going on. A block beats a normal attack, a throw beats a block, a normal beats a throw, usually. That's the general flow of things. When you're blending together low attacks and overheads and throws, that's what's known as the mix-up game. You're creating an ambiguous situation in which your opponent doesn't quite know how to counter what you're doing to them. Characters also have what are known as command normals. These are normal moves that are slightly modified with simple gestures on the D-pad or the stick. Like, Jago has a unique overhead attack that is performed by holding back and tapping heavy punch. He also has a 2-hit step kick that's performed by holding forward and pressing heavy kick at the same time. Then, of course, each character has a range of special attacks. Jago here is very similar to Street Fighter's Ryu, who most people probably have some kind of passing familiarity with. He is what is known as a Shoto, so he's got a fireball, he's got a body projectile in the form of a wind kick that carries his whole frame forward, and he's got an uppercut special that's good for hitting people out of the air. The input for his fireball is quarter circle forward plus punch, and different punch strengths affect the speed of the fireball and how quickly Jago recovers from performing it. Wind kick is quarter circle back and kick, and his uppercut is forward, down, down, forward. So it ends in a diagonal. And that is what is typically referred to as a DP, or a Dragon Punch, or a Shoryuken motion, named for Ryu's Shoryuken or Dragon Punch. And he's also got a special called, I think it's the Laser Sword special, which is quarter circle back and punch. And that's indicative of most of the motions in KI. There's also some like up downs and back forwards. There are no charge motions. There are no 360s, I think. There are definitely no 720s, and there are no like complicated pretzel motions. It's pretty much just quarter circles and DP motions. Anyway, you can use a chunk of that blue meter that you see on the bottom of the screen to perform a Shadow special move, or an enhanced version of any of your character's special moves, which will not only usually increase the damage, it'll modify them in pretty interesting ways and give them unique properties. You do that by hitting 2 punch or 2 kick buttons instead of the normal one. Like Jago's Shadow Fireball would be quarter circle forward plus 2 punch buttons instead of 1. One super important mechanic that Killer Instinct has that sets it apart from other fighting games is that when you're being comboed, you can break the combo without spending any kind of resource. You do that by hitting both a punch and a kick together at the moment that you get hit to break the combo. You also have to match the strength of your punch and kick buttons to what you're being hit by. If you're getting hit with a medium attack, you need to break it by hitting both medium punch and medium kick. There are tells which will help you figure out which buttons you need to hit to break the combo, but again, that gets more into intermediate KI. The only resource, if you want to conceptualize it that way, that you spend when you break a combo is risk. You're taking a chance when you combo break, because if you don't time your combo breaker correctly, or if you mess up and use the wrong strength, you get locked out. While you're locked out, you can't try to break again for 3 seconds. That means your opponent gets to do whatever they want and use their strongest attacks for 3 seconds, while you can't do anything to stop it. There's one other important thing to watch out for. If your opponent knows that you're about to break the combo, they can hit both medium punch and medium kick together, and they will do what is called a counter breaker. And a counter breaker will lock you out for 4 seconds. And it also has some other properties I'll talk about later. If they guess wrong trying to counter break you, if they have a bad read, and they try to counter break without you having attempted a combo breaker, they will drop their combo and they will go into a lengthy recovery animation during which you can turn things around and punish them. So this really sets up Killer Instinct as a game of risk and reward, of mind games, and of really just in-depth reads. Now, as for the combo system itself, unlike a lot of fighters, Killer Instinct's combo system is actually really lenient. It doesn't depend so much on really tight links, like, say, a Street Fighter or a KOF, although they are in the game as manuals, and that's terminology that's more, again, for an intermediate level. But Killer Instinct's combo system is lenient. It's actually really accessible, and they recently added something called the Combo Assist feature, which essentially lets you follow the golden path, a term I'll get more into in a minute. It lets you follow the golden path with just button inputs only, and some minor inputs with the D-pad, like just forward and heavy to do an ender. The emphasis really isn't on the execution like it is in, say, Marble or KOF. It's generally pretty simple just to get into. There are, again, some advanced combos and juggles and manuals you can learn later on, but just for a beginner, it's really easy to succeed with the basics of the combo system. So there's this golden path thing that I mentioned earlier. That is to say, it's an opener, followed by an auto double, followed by a linker, and then you can repeat the auto double, linker, and so on and so forth, until you're ready to cash the damage out with an ender. Enders are super important in KI because your combos deal a little bit of damage, but they also create this white light that you see on the health bar. That's called potential damage. The only way to take off the rest of that white life or potential damage is to finish your combo with an ender. If you don't finish your combo with an ender, long combos are worth very little. And why might you not be able to finish your combo with an ender? Well, because it might have gotten broken by the opponent. There's the risk reward and the mind games and the reads coming into play. You could be looking at the difference between a combo that gets broken early or dropped early that does maybe only 20% of your opponent's life, or 30, 40, 50% with an ender. But before I get ahead of myself, I want to go back to this idea of the golden path. An opener is just a certain kind of special move that starts a combo. That's all an opener is. It's just a special move that starts a combo. Jago's openers would be his wind kick and the laser sword special. An auto double is any hit that follows an opener, any normal attack. Say you do Jago's wind kick and then just hit hard punch, Jago will do the wind kick and 2 hard punches automatically, hence why it's called an auto double. Next up in the golden path is a linker. A linker is, again, just a fancy name for a special move that keeps the combo going. Again, wind kick and laser sword are Jago's linkers. From here, you can do another auto double, you can keep going with auto doubles and linkers, or if you're feeling the heat and you're feeling like your opponent might break you soon and you don't want to lose out on that potential damage that you've already built up, you can cash the damage out with an ender. Enders are done by using the hard or the heavy versions of special moves, like Jago's heavy version of his uppercut. Or I guess I should use the proper name of the special move, his Tiger Fury. You can repeat the linker auto double linker loop over and over and over again until you're ready to end the combo, or until you get broken, or until one other thing happens. You'll see that when you start hitting an opponent, you'll see this bar on the side of the screen start filling up. The more hits that you perform, the more it will fill up. When it spills over 100, the combo will blow out, which is to say that you will drop the combo. This is called the KV meter. The length of your combo, and thus its maximum potential damage, is basically restricted by that meter. Light attacks will build it up really, really quickly, and they do low damage, but light attacks are faster and thus harder to break, which is why you might want to mix them in. Since I play Hisako normally in my Killer Instinct ranked videos, and I can combo off of her throws, I'll add this little detail in. Throws build the KV meter really fast, so you can't get insanely lengthy, high-damaging combos off of a throw. Now, you can reset the KV meter mid-combo. You can reset it back to 0 to push your combos to really crazy high damage. You can do that by popping Instinct, which I'll get more into in a second, or you can land a counter breaker. That's the other effect of counter breaking that I mentioned earlier on when I was talking about combo breakers and counter breakers. And there is one more pretty important game-specific mechanic that I'll detail, and then we can kind of wrap things up. And that mechanic I just mentioned is Instinct. As you take damage, you'll build up that yellow meter below your life bar. When it's full, you can hit heavy punch and heavy kick together, and you'll activate a temporary buff for your character known as Instinct Mode. The benefits that you receive are specific to your character. Jago, for instance, gains frame advantage on all of his moves, which just means that everything that he does is going to be safe on block. Like, if you do something that would normally get you in a whole world of trouble, like you just throw out the heavy version of a wind kick or something and your opponent blocks it, they would normally be able to punish it, but not while Jago is an Instinct. All of his stuff is safe. And the other benefit to Jago's Instinct is that all of his fireballs give him life back when they connect. There's a lot more under the hood in Killer Instinct, a lot more advanced stuff. Plus you have the really fun part that I find of fighting games, which is the neutral game, or footsies, the fundamentals. That stuff. You have character-specific mechanics, you have combo traits, you have manuals, you have all sorts of stuff going on under the hood. But, again, more intermediate, advanced stuff that, if you're watching this video, you might already know about, and if you don't, hey, I'm super willing to help anyone out and answer any questions in the comments. I've been doing that throughout the other KI videos, I'll keep doing it. So, hope I did an alright job covering the basics and the really important game mechanics that you should know if you want to follow along with my KI videos. If I made this sound intimidating or, like, impenetrable, I apologize. I'm trying to cram a lot into a smallish video. I really encourage you to pick up Killer Instinct. You'll settle in faster than you think and get acclimated to it more easily than I'm making it seem. It's got an excellent dojo, excellent resources to help you out. The community is super welcoming. It's got some built-in features now that make it really easy, like easier than any other fighting game I can think of for a newcomer to pick up and get into and do reasonably okay with. Season 1 characters are free with Xbox Gold. Season 2 is, I think, 10 or 20 bucks, and that gives you access to all of the characters. Season 3 is going to be starting in March, and that's going to bring, what, 8 to 10 new characters in, something like that. Killer Instinct is coming to Windows 10 as well. It's going to be cross-buy and cross-platform compatible. It is seriously just an astonishing, brilliant fighting game, and you should give it a chance if you even think you have any interest in fighting games. One more note, this is something that I see come up a lot in discussions about fighting games, and especially from people who are just getting into fighting games or thinking about it. Don't feel pressured to get an arcade stick either, especially if you aren't familiar with it. Like, if you don't come from an arcade background, you don't really need an arcade stick. Just trust me on that. If you've spent a lot of time on pad and you switch to stick, you're gonna have to spend, you know, a solid 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, relearning how to play with the arcade stick for no tangible advantage. If you feel like it'd make more sense, go for it. That's the transition that I made years and years and years and years ago. I generally prefer stick for most 2D fighters just because it makes more sense in my head. Yeah, don't feel pressured to play on stick. It's not gonna suddenly up your game. But if it makes sense to you, yeah, go ahead and make that transition if you want. Just don't feel like you have to. Okay, I've rambled on long enough. We'll get back to some Killer Instinct ranked matches on the road to getting into Killer pretty soon in the coming days. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.